Hello, everyone, and welcome to our fourth lesson. Today, we're going to be going over how to gather reference and what's the process that we usually do, or the thinking process behind what type of reference we get and how we go about that. Okay, let's get started. So, when we're starting off, I have the software that I usually use, which is Screen to GIF. And in case that I can't find any specific GIF, but I find it on a video, for example, then I would use this. But mainly I stick with Giphy.com and Tenor.com. So usually, let's see if we do explosions and see some of the things that we usually try to do is get an explosion that is from the beginning to an end. Sometimes GIFs don't give you that. And the reason I usually use GIFs is for ignition. So that beginning moment of an explosion. So for example, here I have this thing. Let's say I like how the debris looks, how it flew, how the actual explosion happened, and so on. So this is a movie explosion. So I'm pretty sure this was practical. So there was a lot of things used to push this like this. So in terms of this, I won't use it. Part of the reason why I won't use it is the fact that it's kind of fake and it doesn't have the exact motion that I'm looking for. For example, if we look at something like this, that's an explosion. That's a freaking massive explosion. So you can see the shock wave, you can see the details, you can see how fast it is and how it slows down and so on. So something like this, if I'm looking for a really big explosion in the background, I would do something like this. So this is the beauty of PureRef and Giphy or any of these sites. You can just drag and drop and you have it here. So let's bring this back. So for example, you've seen maybe this one also. So for things like this, I try to get as much information as I can. And what I mean by that is, let's say, for example, the type of explosion and the material. So for this, I am actually not sure what type of explosion it is, but the material is dirt. I like this explosion because of the dirt and how it gets kicked up. So in my head, I'm breaking this down into just the dirt. And I got this reference just for the dirt and the kick-ups that happen, especially here and here. Nothing else. Like I didn't get it for the debris. I didn't get it for the actual car, just for the dust. Then again, let's say, for example, I got a task and the task is for me to blow up a car in a game, not in real life. Please don't put me in jail. So things like that allows you to basically get a reference for more than one thing. So now I have a reference of a car being blown up and the pieces and the debris. So this is how I usually break it down. Let's see. Let's try. Oh, and please don't get references from things like this, because this is more or less simulated and this doesn't help you. This is not realistic. Okay, let's see. Let's actually try and get fire. So let's see. This is a nice reference. So for things like this, for example, try to get looping ones for different reasons. So you can get ones that are more of an ignition, so that just a burst and then you see the fire, or you get something that is looping, and that looping can be used for the shape, the speed, could be used for a lot of different things. Sometimes you could even use it as the look for uh, the smoldering wood at the bottom. So things like that. And then over time, when you're trying to get your, let's say we go back to this. Let's say over time you start picking up a lot of different references, you start putting them together. So you take these two, this is wood, you take these two, these are explosions, and then even then you go in and, okay, this is a missile explosion probably, this is a car explosion, this is a propane, or this is something completely different. So these are the things that you have to do when you're gathering reference, is split them up to its intended material. Let's see. Okay, so when it comes to getting references from videos, oh, I think this would be better for that. This is what I usually do. I would find the frame that I like. So in this case, it's here. Grab my screen to GIF and just find the right ratio for it. And let's say record and then click. So you wait until you find, hey, this is what I like. Or like you keep waiting on it. But keep in mind, the more you record in this, the more it's going to be in terms of space. So I'm going to stop this and this, but let me see, because they had it really quick. I think it was here. Hmm. Yeah, I'm still waiting on this thing because I recorded way too much. Let's pause it. I am gonna pause the video just until this is done, or probably it is crashed. So, oh, never mind. Here we go. And now when you play it, this is what you have. I usually try to trim it down to whatever frame that I need. I think the best way to show you is this video. Let me find it. This is kind of my favorite one, partly because of the missiles they show. Explosions. Here we go. I think I've showed this before, but this is how I got my references, basically. And then stop it. Now I get to see the impact, and it's not perfect. So let's say, for example, oh, me go back. It's easier to do this than actually just getting the video or saving it for later, because then you can put it in your PureRef and you wouldn't need to go back to it again. Yeah, you can go back to it again and not the video. So let's say we do something like this. I'm gonna go back a little bit. There we go. And stop it. So there is another video also, which is a propane video. Let's see if I can find that. What was it called again? There we go. And part of the reason I like this one is because of how the explosions actually go through their life cycle, especially because it's a propane explosion and not, you see, this is what I mean. You have the ignition, you have the peak and the death within a split second of it going off. So this is like when I see this, I'm like, okay, that's propane, that's gas. Because gas is the only element that, in this case, burns immediately. So there is nothing afterwards. The only thing that you see here is basically the car that exploded. That's the remnant of that's being burned. So when I look at this, I can be like, okay, I can take a reference of this right here. So I can just go and file, record, decrease this, start recording, and just focus on this area, because that my reference now showcases fire, smoke, and the type of fire. So because it's a car, it's going to have a lot of rubber. It's going to have a lot of different materials. So that way you can be like, okay, this is why I can add smoke to this. In terms of the gas, with the explosion, you don't, because the gas doesn't actually burn anything except itself when it blows up. So give me one sec. So this, for example, is a perfect way of showcasing it. Come on. There we go. And a couple of seconds from now. There we go. See how it immediately dies? So if like your art director or your lead is coming to you like, hey, we have a task to do a propane explosion. So you'll see that there are a lot of white gases in here, a lot of explosions, and we need you to do something like that. So this is how I would gather my reference. Let's say in this case, this one, because there was a lot of frames in here. I will just go back to this, delete it, and just keep this. That's it. Because this gives me the birth, life, and death. Then you can save it. Like, for example, I have a folder for this, and I call this gas _exp. Oh. And here you'll see that, okay, how much is this going to be? And then you can just drag it and drop it into the PureRef file. So for me, let's say, for example, if I'm gathering more references from this and a lot of the different explosions, I would do, let's say I'm asked to do different explosion, different material burning. Like I've, for example, gathered some reference on tire burning. So this is the type of effect that I would get with the fire, the smoke. Same thing with, let's say, no, not this. Where is it? Let's say splashes, things like that. The gas explosion that we talked about. So what I would do in this case, like when I am trying to make a full board of references, I would keep in mind what material that is being looked at first, what the explosion is going to be, and how does the environment react to that. So these are the things that I do before I gather my reference. And then when I do, I put them all in different sections. Okay. Um, let's see. This is going to be kind of a sneak peek to uh, a different board, but I just want to showcase what I mean in terms of sectioning them off. So I usually have different uh, elements in every single cluster that I have. So let's just zoom in. So fire, flamethrowers, uh, campfires, volcanoes, cars on fire, things like that. Fire gets its own category. Water gets its own category. Explosion gets its own category. Things like that. Then from there, you can go in and like, okay, what type of fire I need? Wood? Here. What type of explosion it is? Fuel? Here. What type of like sparks it is, or like what type of thing that's being cut? Again, sparks is a separate issue because that's also metal, but also there is a lot of different ways that different metals react and so on. So these are the things that we have to always keep in mind when we're working on RFX. Also like water, what is it? An explosion underwater? Here, that's the reference. Gather as much as you can because you never know when you're going to use it. I have like different boards with different stuff. I have Miro boards, Pure Refs, Figmas, things like that. So it's never a bad thing to have a lot of different elements that you can grab and mismatch with. Okay, I hope this gives you an idea of the way that I process my data in terms of references and how I gather them and what's the process that it goes into my head when I do. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will see you in the next one.